All right, good morning, everyone. This is bus schedule for me, so my day starts a little later. Let me just start off by saying welcome to the channel. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm the Black opinionated woman, also known as a bow, and I'm about to make some people a little irritated today. I'm coming. I don't want to say I'm coming, but I have something to say to. I guess it would be the feminists. You guys are going to excuse the lighting because my light over here is not matching the sunrise over here. This is a whole situation. I got a lot of shadows. I don't feel like moving my computer. Um, let's get on into it. So I want to talk about this high horse feminism. Okay. I've come to the conclusion that these hyper feminist women are not really all that inclusive. It's not loving. It's I don't like what I'm seeing. Now, let me just say this. I'm not like a real feminist. I'm a faux feminist. I'm like a feminist sometimes. What do I mean by that? I do think that there is a such thing as having balance. Like, for example, when I was talking about the 4B movement and all that stuff like that, there's nuance to the movement or what I believe it was supposed to be. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. There's a difference between saying you want to focus on the health and needs of yourself, like to get yourself healthy, to get yourself grounded, to discover what you like, to discover things about yourself, anything that's in terms of building yourself up, right? I I get that. I'm for that. I live that life. But there is nuance to the argument when you're like anti-men. And I'm hearing a lot of anti-men. And let me tell you what else I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of anti-women who don't believe exactly what you believe. So I wrote down a couple of notes. These are not in order. This was just what came to mind. You're going to have to stop judging me. Okay, I didn't do a good job of putting together a cohesive thought, but these were my thoughts. Um, I could try to put it in some sort of order, but I'm just going to go down the list. Let's start with the first one. I just feel like women have to get out of this making anti men content. As much as they say they're not decentering, they're decentering men, I don't believe them because everything they talk about is men. Everything. Everything. I can't remember the last time someone had a video that did not involve talking about patriarchy, talking about how bad men are. And let's be clear, there's a lot of shenanigans going on out here in these streets with a lot of these men. So I get that portion, but I'm like, if you're truly focused on yourself, the health and well-being of yourself, then focus on that. Because I'm finding that men is still they are still the focal point of your conversations. This light situation is I don't know how to fix this. I got shadows. Okay, maybe if I turn this way. I don't I don't like what's happening. It's like super bright. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. All right. I want to get into this next point, and I don't know if I'm going to do a good job of having this discussion, but I think what I'm feeling when I've watched some of this content, because I actually did indulge some of it, okay? It came across my timeline, and I actually took the time to listen to what some people are saying. Like all kinds of people, all kinds of women, white women, Asian women, black women, etc. And what I'm finding, I'd say primarily with black content because I try to source black creators, although I do like all kinds of creators. What I'm finding is there is this unhealthy fascination with trying to shame women. Let me tell you what these hyper feminist women are doing. They actually are pick me's. The very thing that they don't want to be is the very thing. Now, when I say pick me, it's not in terms of pick me in terms of wanting to get a man, but they are very much like, I'm not like those women. They're still doing the same thing. The only difference is they are fighting for the attention of being exalted in these women's spaces. See, I'm a real so and so, and I'm the one who's really for women, not those women over there. And if you've made a mistake, they want to, flambe. Is it flambe? Is that the word? They want to crucify women. We don't want you over here because, see, back in the day, you were pro men and you kicked us to the curb. There's no grace. There's no education. There's nothing. It's like they want to get into this cocoon of other, really, some of the content is quite disturbing, individuals. They want to get into these weird echo chambers. They are literally going hard on women who were in relationships and they failed and they made mistakes. And they're like, and you're the kind of woman that we don't, this, that, and the other. It's people like you. You're the pick me. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, you're such a feminist. Oh, wait, this might be the better angle. Let me just sit back. Okay. Okay. They're going hard on these women. It's disgusting. These these feminists are sitting here, and look, let me tell you, I'm not even anti-feminism, but I don't like this brand of feminism that I'm seeing out here. It's not inclusive. It's mean. Passport OG, I like your voice is grounded. Sorry, this is the comment. I'm gonna say thanks, but I'm gonna be cautious with the thanks because when I see Passport OG, that comes with some mess with it too. So we'll see where we go with this. But the point I'm making with some of the feminists, and like I said, I consider myself a faux feminist. I'm not like a real feminist. I do believe in like equality for men and women, but I recognize that men and women are different. But I think men and women should have equal rights in terms of voting and education and all that good stuff. But what I don't like is if you are a hyper feminist woman, you want to um, come after women who choose a different lifestyle. It's not for me. But you can't sit there and say I'm a feminist and I'm for women's choices. But as soon as someone make a different choice, you're like you're anti-woman and you're messing up the movement. And I'm like, wait a second. Well, which one is it? I don't like when I see women are getting out here on these social media apps and they're talking about the decentering men and the 4B movement, and everything that they're doing is centered around men. They say they're not, but it's centered around men. I don't believe them for one bit because all they do is get out here and talk about how they're going to decenter from men. Let me tell you something. I know I said it earlier. I'm going to say this again. There is a difference between saying, ladies, we need to take the time out for ourselves, reground ourselves, figure out what we like, figure out how to be mentally healthy, figure out how to be financially healthy, because that is important. I do believe in that. We do need to be educated. There's reasons why you want to be educated, but I think that's another video. We need to do all these things. But there's a difference between that and coming out here saying we need to separate ourselves from men. There's a nuance to this argument. Hey, I'm live, so try not to be loud, okay? There's a difference between saying you want to be like separate from men. Men are the real evil. I'm like, wait a second. You got a lot of bad men out here, but you got women who are a participant, you know? So let's be honest. Now, do I think there's a lot of really whacked out weirdos out there? I surely do. This is where I would say, like, I understand where women are coming from, but to preach against men versus for women, when we start saying when we start saying 4B movement where we have no relationship with men. Now, I want to get back into it. When we talk about 4B, 4B is no marriage to men, no dating men, no having sexual relationships with men, and no children by men. If you've got that going on, and then you've got the whacked out weirdo men and I don't even know what it's called, the manosphere, the red pill, they got all these pills, which I don't even understand. It's so weird and creepy. And if you've got them out there who hate women, because a lot of them don't like women, I don't care what they say. If you listen to what they're saying, they don't like women. You got the women who are out here preaching shenanigans. I'm like, The women who are sitting here on this high horse, I'm like, you're no different than the whacked out weirdos in the what, I don't know what these pills are. I mean, and there's nuance to the conversation. But the biggest thing that's killing me about these hyper feminist women is, how dare you be a woman? And now they're going to refute this. How dare you be a woman who says, like, you know what? I just want to be loved by a man. Why is that wrong? Because the last time I checked, we are on this earth to be with each other. I don't care what the men say either. They're psycho too. We were here to copulate. We were here to mate. Well, and to serve God. But we were here for a reason, to sit there and preach on both sides against our very nature. This has gotten so psycho to me. It is disgusting. And it is, I'm suffering from secondhand embarrassment, because we've got primarily, go ahead, you can get what you need to get. We've got primarily Black men and Black women, because let me rephrase that, because I'm sure I've seen other groups of people doing this, but I'm going to focus specifically, I'm going to lend a level of specificity towards Black people. We literally have Black men and Black women getting up on podcasts and rehashing this over and over again. It is so embarrassing. It's even more embarrassing seeing all these men out here with these podcasts, and they don't even realize just how stupid they sound. It is so embarrassing. I was like, oh my gosh, secondhand embarrassment. We are literally preaching against our very nature. Instead of saying, everybody, let's be better humans, better people, we are preaching against, don't deal with men. Don't deal with these women. Well, the men are on some weird stuff. They got their little passports, and it's like a new phenomenon to them. And I'm like, it's not new to us, but whatever, And I'm like, holy cow. If you think about what their message is, go get a passport to go overseas. I don't care what flowers they want to put them on the wording, and deal with these kind of women. They don't even understand what geo arbitrage really means, right? They think that they're doing something new. I'm like, men have been doing this for centuries, by the way, going overseas, doing this stuff. Just look at the military. The military has done this, but they don't go out there and beat their chest and talk about it. But you got these whacked out weirdos over here talking about this craziness. It's embarrassing. But they get on these podcasts, and they talk about going overseas to go find a so-called traditional woman. And look, I've lived overseas. I've been around this world. I lived overseas. These women are smarter than these men think. Trust. I'm going to say it again. I lived overseas. I've traveled around the world. And these women are smarter than these so-called passport bros think. I remember I had to school people stateside. I said, let me tell you what she's going to say. And I would tell the dudes who were going off to the DR and where else were they going? I can't remember. It's going to come back to me. They would go off. I said, let me tell you how they're going to get you. You're just another, well, what we say now is lick, but that wasn't what I was using then. I'm like, but you're just another lick. And I would talk to them. I was so sweet. And they were like, she said that to me. I'm like, I know. You think I don't know? Now, moving back to the weirdo feminists. They're out here shaming women for wanting to be in relationships with men. They're shaming women because they made these mistakes. And now the very pick me that they don't want to be, they're being in a pick me for another group of people. It's the hyper feminist women. So they're pick me's for them. We're not like those women. We are good over here by ourselves. You know what we do? Our money is so good now. We get to travel, we get to do this, we get to do that. Because that's what being a single woman is all about. Being a feminist woman is all about. Is having a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong. Go ahead. They can't see you. Don't get me wrong. When I was single, I was a high earner and I was able to do a lot of things. But what we're not talking about is the stuff that some of these women are saying, the stuff that they're saying. There's this little thread. There's this undercurrent underneath there. In order to be one of these hyper feminist valued women, one of these women who can decenter men and divest from men and engage in the 4B movement, is you have to have a lot of money. So what about the poor woman? What about the poor woman? Reasonable voices like yours need more ears. I don't know. I don't think anybody probably thinks I'm reasonable at all. I'm on an island by myself. So anyway, I just find it interesting to hear these hyper feminist women. Like I said, I'm like a faux feminist, not a real feminist, but a sometimes feminist. I'm a sometimes feminist. Um, what I'm saying is, I'm listening to these women come after married women. I'm listening to these women come after single women who got out of relationships. It's really weird. It's so weird. But I'm going to move on to the next point. I actually think I started touching on it, which was, if you're not following their narrative, you're a pick me. See, remember, with feminism, is really like equal rights and the right to choice on how you want to live your life. But as soon as you don't live the life according to what they want you to do, you're a pick me. And sometimes you are. But I say, wait a second. I'm going to go back to the trad wives things for a second. Being a traditional wife and stuff like that, the way that they are promoting it online, okay? I'm going to talk about the way it's being promoted online because there's nuances, there's levels to this conversation, right? I think if you choose to live that life, it is not necessarily bad. I always say you need to have agency in yourself, which means when you have agency in yourself, oftentimes it kind of makes you less traditional, right? Meaning, um, I have seen this multiple times. Now, this is where it's weird. It's going to seem like I'm splitting the fence, and just hang with me for a second. I think women should have the right to want to live the traditional trad wife life. Okay. And a lot of women will get out here and lose their mother loving minds because somebody chose that life. I also say you need to have your eyes wide open, right? Open your eyes. Now, I have seen this in other relationships, primarily ones that don't look like me, where the women were traditional wives and then they got to middle age and their husbands got rid of them. And now they have to hire forensic accountants, not regular accountants. No, 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 no. They got to go hard on their husbands to go find the missing money. I've seen where they have gone and changed and got like a younger model because the men that they're choosing, from what I have seen, I have to clarify, they're on some other kind of stuff. Neither here nor there. But I feel like if people want to choose that lifestyle, it is their right to choose it. It's not a bad lifestyle. It's not one I would choose. But they get upset because a woman chose to want to be a stay-at-home mom. Now, let me just say this too. I want to stay on this point for a second. The women, these hyper feminist women, seem to not understand that there are women who enjoy serving. They enjoy serving. The only reason why they don't look down on nurses is because nurses get paid, right? But there's a lot of people who actually enjoy nursing. Now, there's a lot who don't because they're burned out. But there's a lot of people who like to serve people and they like to nurture people and they like to nurse them back to health and all these things. There are people who genuinely love serving. There are women who genuinely love staying home with kids. Not me. Did it for 3 years. I realized it's not going to work for me. I went back to work. And plus, it helps us financially for the goals that we want. There are women who genuinely love to cook. They love it. They love taking care of a home. There are some women who really enjoy doing that. Not this one, right? I think women should be able to do that, and we shouldn't start judging everybody because they made that choice. But these freaking hyper feminists who are really psycho out here, just like the whacked out weirdos in the manosphere, are sitting here going hard. Let me see. Do I get more light this way? I don't know what's happening. Okay. They're going hard on all women. It is so weird. That's why they're preaching all these things. Yeah, we're good over here. I'm like, who are you protesting too much for? Yeah, we're good over here and we don't need y'all and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is a psycho conversation. It's an unserious conversation at this point. I'm like, men and women need each other. Yes, they do. They like each other. Most of us are attracted to each other. And if a woman is attracted to a man and a man is attracted to a woman and they want to get together and do the things that adults do, why is that so bad? And yes, I know there's some men out here who are on some other kind of stuff because, I don't like to cake for the men because many of the things that these women are saying, it is true. But it's also okay for women to say, hey, I still want to keep searching for love. I don't want to be in this movement where I want to be single by myself because I want to be loved. And if they admit that publicly, you pick me, you pick me. They say things like I heard one person online say like, yes, there are married women who are part of our movement and your singular relationship, if it's a good one, does not do much for, I forgot exactly how she worded it. And this is what I would say. We need to start seeing some of these singular relationships being portrayed online too. We need to show that because what's happening is we have a whole bunch of women out here losing their freaking minds. Okay. Because a lot of them have been in these really bad relationships and they only know people who've been in bad relationships. And so now what they have done, they've painted this picture that all women in relationships are miserable. And then they look at these weirdo data points. This is the thing that kills me about that stat. Married women are not as happy as single. I forgot what the thing, but they're saying, or maybe it says single women are happier than married women, or whatever it is. And I'm sitting here thinking like, it's like the stupidest thing because a lot of people don't understand data science. They don't understand data science. They don't understand data. I can take 100 people and take a survey. Let's take 100 women, say they're all middle age. And I'm going to do a really bad job of explaining this. Somebody much more eloquent can do this. But 100 people, single, married, or whatever, and say 50 of them come back and they're all unhappy for whatever reasons. The difference between the single woman and the married woman is the married woman remains in the covenant. It is a covenant. It is a vow. Right? And so they ride the ups and the downs. The single woman gets the option to say, I will not do this anymore. Now, there's levels to this, right? Obviously, if you have a whacked out weirdo dude who's slapping you around and cheating and everything, that's one thing. What I'm saying is, so what happens is they'll do these things, and I gave a bad job with the numbers, right? They'll be like, married women are unhappy in their relationships. But so you can say 50%, you can say 50 out of 100, or you can take from that same cross section, depending on the women that you pick, it could be 8 out of 10 women. You see how data goes? And also, I want to say something else. If you're trying to make a point with a statistic, is it better to say 5 out of 10, 50 out of 100, out of 100, or 50%? Right? 5 out of 10 women, that doesn't seem like there's a lot of people, right? But it's the same ratio. 50 out of 100, it sounds more. 50% sounds like, yeah, but you only surveyed 100 people. It's basic statistics. But anyway, neither here nor there. Anyway, so I just wanted to go there with you. Getting back to the hyper feminism and this whole pick me thing, like I said, they're just pick me's for a different group of people. Because if you're a woman and you don't speak that exact narrative, and you could be for women's rights and everything else, but you're not exactly in lockstep with the whacked out weirdo-ness that's going on in these women's spaces, just like the whacked out weirdos in that, the red pill and all the pills they've gotten and the manosphere and mixed towels, and I can't even keep up. They got way too many movements. If you're not speaking the exact language, how dare you're like excommunicated. There's no grace for you. You're a pick me. Is really disgusting. I don't like what I'm seeing. And like I said earlier in this conversation, the women, these hyper feminist weirdo women who are out here, let me tell you something. They don't even realize how exclusionary they are. The things that they're saying, if you don't speak this narrative, you're not one of these women. You're not one of us. And the things that they talk about, most of the things that they talk about is not about bettering them. Most of the things they talk about is ever since I took these centered men, I had more money and I had this. It's always about their money and their stuff. And it's important. But I'm like, how are you better? How did you get better? Did you give us any solutions? You told me that you got a lot of money, but you don't seem healthy. All I know is you guys get out here on these apps and you set it off, and you're mad about everything. It is a movement for everything. First it was divest, and it was decenter. Now it's the 4B. I can't keep up. The men got 500 different pill colors, and I'm like, y'all get out here on these apps and set it off. And the women claim that they're trying to decenter men, and no, they're not, because that's all they do is talk about men, men, men. I think some of them still want to be with men, but they're angry. They're angry, and they should be angry. Some of it's their own doing. Some of it is the whacked out weirdo dudes who probably follow the weirdo pill stuff. Moving on. Anyway, I want to get back to these hyper feminist women and their high horse. I don't really typically hear them giving solutions. I hear them telling women why men are bad. It's no different than the black dude who's like, I don't I date outside my race because I don't like black women. They don't even realize how stupid they sound. You're telling me, you never tell me what you like about the other ones. Number two, we already know there's some self-hate stuff going on, but it's usually everything that they don't like in a black woman, but they go find those same traits in a white woman anyway, right? Or Asian women or Hispanic women. And I feel like this. I think people should date outside their race. Just don't take anybody down. You don't have to take anybody down, but that's another conversation because I don't really care. Getting back to it, they don't, these hyper feminist women, they don't have any solutions, at least not the ones I've seen. Now it could just be whatever is curated for me. They're just showing me the whacked out weirdos. I don't know, but they don't typically come with solutions. By the way, that noise you hear, those are my kids in the background as we are preparing, because in about 13 minutes we got to run to the bus stop. It's my day. My husband does it during the week, and so do I. We're in a partnership. Now, and by the way, I was a stay at home for 3 years. I've done both sides. But my husband also supported me going back into the workforce too, because I wanted to work. Well, let me rephrase that. I didn't want to stay home. I like having my own autonomy and money, et cetera, like that. Anyway, so these weirdo women who are out here, and they all get into these same little groups, and they have their echo chambers, and they all think they're so cerebral and so advanced and enlightened. They don't realize they are basically they're helping create division among women. There's no grace at this woman. Yeah, let's say a woman went out there and she kicked all her friends to the curb, and she was with the guy, and then he kicked her to the curb, and now she wants to come back to the collective. There's a way that you can handle that. You don't throw everybody away. I mean, there's a way that you can handle people. There has to be, you can't, when there's tough love, it can't just be all tough. There has to be love too. There has to be both. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, I think I already touched on this. I basically said that many of these hyper feminists, their value is in their money. A long time ago, I did a video. I believe that a woman having access to finances, it is valuable. I believe a woman having an education is absolutely valuable. But your value is more than your money and your education. And I think a lot of people lose that. Your education and your access to resources brings value, absolutely, but that's not like, do you understand what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of valuable women who don't have a high education. I'm not advocating for not being educated. I want to be clear, because I always advocate for education. There are a lot of women who are not wealthy women, right? Are you going to tell me that they're not valuable? Because you're not going to tell me that, like, the women in my family, like, I've had all kinds in my family. The way that they're talking, like I said, there's this undercurrent about how great of a person they are. They don't come out and use these words, but I'm like, everything you said was in relation to your resources and maybe you engaging in activities. You're fine. engaging in activities, right? And let's say you've done every activity, you've seen every place around the world, then what? Hey, I'm live. It's fine. Go check the freezer out there. Sorry. Somebody ate up all the waffles and I said, go check the freezer outside in the garage. This is the whole situation here. So, anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, their money, this and that. So I feel like many of these feminists are talking about their money and I've done more things and I slept in. Okay, you slept in. Great. There's nothing wrong with that. And they talk about all their activities, the places they've been. Like I told you, I've done all those things. Then what? No, this is not a PSA for having children or being married. What I'm saying is, tell me now how you are a better person, how you affected somebody. Did you make all these people better people? Are you spiritually grounded? Did you cure cancer? I mean, you explain to me how you're a better person. Don't tell me about all the money you had and all the places you visited. Because, okay, now what? Now what? You can visit all the places in the world and have all the money in the world. Now what? You tell me. These hyper feminists are getting just as psycho because I feel like it's a knee-jerk response to the whacked out weirdos in the manosphere. Now, I do believe that it is exclusionary. Like I said, I think I touched on that. They seem to be very anti-married, the anti-flawed woman, the anti-woman who made mistakes, and anti-poor. That's what I think is going on. This is what I think. I mean, look, these are just my opinions. That's why it's called the Black Opinionated Women Channel. Okay. So, I know what I want to say. I feel like the zeitgeist of our times, everybody's got a movement. It's reminding me of when the women that who were promoting the soft life. Now, I do promote the soft life, don't get me wrong. See, this whole lighting thing, like, I can't get right over here. Like, I don't know what is happening with the sun and this is a whole situation. It reminds me of when we were going through this whole soft life thing, right? And I felt like the soft life wasn't inclusive. They were telling women you need to be part of the soft life. And you had women out here trying to teach you how to be very feminine. And it's like, oh my goodness. And I have a point to this. Like, they had women getting out here and they would talk like this. And one of the things you want to do is you want to do this. And everybody had the same face and they all had the same hair and they talk like this because see that's what they thought feminine was, right? It was almost like a shift away from the so-called feminists, right? So this whole movement is like a knee-jerk reaction. It's reminding me of the soft life era where everyone was trying to tell you how to be feminine and live the soft life, and what they weren't telling you was the things that they were saying requires you to have a lot of money. Yes, they weren't being honest. It wasn't inclusive. And like I said, everybody had the same face. They had the same hairstyle. They had the same everything. And I was like, you guys are they were full of it. Anyway, let me move on past this. Let me move on past the soft life and the whacked out weirdo hyper feminist women. Um, these hyper feminist women, I think, assume that most women want to be hyper feminist. Now, I'm just talking here. No, they're not going to come out and say, I think every woman wants to be hyper feminist. I hate that we have to qualify everything. What they're doing is, I think the way it is being conveyed to me, it's very like anybody who wants to support feminism wants to support it in the way that we're delivering it. That's what it comes off to me. Hey, I am live. I can hear you. Sorry, that's one of my older ones. So anyway, I think that's what it is, right? Like they feel like if you want to be a feminist, this is what feminism should look like. And if you don't agree, you're not one of us. I think that there are a lot of women who enjoy being able to support feminist ideals, right? Without doing the extreme. They still want to have healthy relationships with men. They want healthy relationships with men. They don't want to be anti-men, right? A lot of these women, I think they're pushing this message like this is what this should look like, and most people who want to be feminists want to support it in this way, and that's not true. It's flat out not true. That's why I say I'm a faux feminist. I'm not a real feminist. I really am. Because I don't go that hard on everything. I'm going to be honest. I'm not one of those people who thinks like everybody should play women's sports and stuff like that. No, I just think women should play women's sports. And then if you want to sit here and argue with me on saying that everybody can be a woman, argue with yourself. I'm not arguing that. We're going to move on past that. So when I say that I'm not like a full-on feminist, because feminism had four waves, right? What I am saying is, from a purist standpoint, most women support women having the right to vote, having the right to education, equal pay, etc., etc. But most women and men who aren't psycho recognize that men and women can be equal but different. That is why we're complementary. And if anybody is out here saying that they need to separate from men altogether because they're like the evil empire, and well, they kind of are, but like to separate from, and same thing with men, to separate from women, you need some help because we were not meant to be alone anyway. We were meant to be here. We are to complement each other. We are different. We are different. I mean, I'm amazing in every way and can practically do no wrong. But hey, I'm almost done. I'm live. I'm live. I'm almost done. So anyway, let me see what my last point is. They don't have any real solutions. And honestly, I think that most of the feminists out here are creating low self-esteem women. I surely do. I'm not saying that some of the content can't be helpful, but I did take the time this week to listen to some of these women out here. And I was like, some of these women are, I'm trying not to cuss because this is a family channel, but they are psycho. They are crazy. They are bat shit crazy. Some of the things that they're saying, I was just like, y'all are psycho. Anyway, they should be coming up. Hey guys, tone it down. I'm almost done. They should be coming up with solutions. If you want these women to decenter men should not sound like anti-men. It's the messaging. The message is not being clear. And so what's going to happen is they're going to lose a lot of women. They're going to gain women and they're going to lose women because everything is like a pendulum shift. Yeah, you can grab it. It's a pendulum shift. Okay. Everything's like a pendulum shift. And what they're going to do is they're going to cause actually a big divide. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a comment here. You need to tell young women that you aren't a slave in motherhood and marriage. I don't really need to tell women anything. I think sometimes they're just going to have to learn to observe. Okay. I mean, I could, but right now I think people need to observe. I think the messaging right now, unless you have a lot more women out here saying, wait a second, not all marriages are like this, but the preponderance of what they're seeing out there looks like that. I don't know. I go back and forth on like, because there are times when motherhood and marriage isn't glamorous. It's not. It's not. There were times when I was like, oh my gosh, like, look, my daughter was looking at me and said, what? I know. Well, I'm almost done. Okay, I gotta get ready because she's letting me know, like, I need to get to my book bag and your camera's in the way and we gotta get to the bus stop. So let me just say this. I need 30 seconds. This is the thing. I don't think that they have any real solutions. I think what they're doing is making women feel bad. I think that a lot of these women are out here just mean. These hyper feminists are super mean. I think you can say what you mean and mean what you say without being mean. I think are you serious? I think that there is no love in any of their conversation. It's all tough, but no love. They think they're giving out tough love, but there's no love. They're coming after older women, but I understand why some of these hyper feminists are coming after older women. But actually, I think a lot of these older women need to start delivering some better content, actually. And I think women need to evolve. That's pretty much it. I would have said more, but I ran out of time. Go ahead and subscribe and like and then go watch all my videos. Watch all my videos. I need to go run my kids to the bus stop. It is 7:43, and I need to get them there by 7:46. And she's got to make her water, and everybody else is doing. Did your brother leave? Okay. All right. I gotta go because this is a dysfunctional situation. Have a good one. Can't we get out of here?